Welcome to the podcast. Nathan Newberry here, your host. Super pumped for you guys to listen in. I got Rachel Minion here, who is literally a marketing rock star behind. If you're listening to this, she has a picture of a bunch of amazing guitars that is signed by like professional artists. Pretty cool. Talking with her offline on some of this stuff, but she is a CMO, fractional CMO for people and companies, but she also helps people do some marketing stuff. And she has some really good strategies of like how this is going to be able to help people grow and scale. And she takes a different stance that we're going to kind of get into today. And then toward the end of the conversation and this interview, we're going to really dive into some like tactics of what everybody should be doing and looking at that. So stay tuned toward the end. I think it's going to be really helpful for everybody that's tuning in to listen in. Before we dive in, I want to give everybody a gift. So many times people want to build online, they just don't know what they're doing. And I put down in the description below a free workshop I designed to help you be able to grow online, leverage ads, AI, buy back your time with a media and sales team. It's going to be a really helpful resource as you're scaling and grow. Take a look at that. That's going to be really cool. So, Rachel, one of the questions I ask everybody is, what is high performance? What does that look like? What does that mean to you? I'd like to get your take on it.
So, high performance isn't a trend. It's not a title. It's not a silly buzzword. It is just a way of life. I call it radical self ownership. It's standing in that fire without flinching and refusing to shrink just because someone else can't handle your volume. I've never been here to play nice or be here for the clout. I'm here to build an empire, break patterns, and just light the path on fire for those who are done playing it small. Um, it's also finding some type of clarity in chaos, right? Where there's power in the pause and like discipline with the side of fire. And, it fits in because my motto is live loud and be bold. It's not a catchphrase. It's just the blueprint of how I live. And it's not a grind because we're building legacy. And that's really what high performance is on my end.
No, I'm trying to do a good intro for you, just a high overview so people know a little bit more of what you do and how you help people and who you serve. Could you give us just a high overview of what you do there?
Absolutely. So I am head rock star at Rockstar and Moon, where I get to wake up every single day with one clear goal in mind. It's to transform the lives of small business owners by helping them grow and thrive. Now, I set a pretty bold mission because that's who I am. I want to help to double the size of 100 small businesses by the end of 2029. And that's not just about numbers, because it's the heart and soul of these businesses, the owners themselves, that create that lasting impact for their families, their teams, their communities. And that's really the backbone of why we're all here.
Love that. Now, I want to get your take on this. Going back to the beginning of everything, we I know quite often that we're wired a little bit different. We're a little bit different species altogether because we're wired and we're go-getters and we want to be an entrepreneur. Like, tell us the beginning story of all this. Like, how did this become your thing?
So sometimes life just throws you a curveball. And for me, it was when my parents' business collapsed. We were printers. And in 2008, when that recession hit, the government contracts for printing stopped. A majority of our clients were either printers and who were getting their contracts from the government, or we had large clients like Ritz Camera who immediately went bankrupt. And so without the contracts for the printers, they were paying in 30 days to 60 days to 90 days to they were closing. And the rest of our clients were going bankrupt and couldn't pay. So by 2010, we closed. And I was trying to find a job. And when you're the daughter of a printer, no one believes that you actually know how to do anything. I could go interview to run any type of machinery. I can go into estimating. I can go into invoicing. I can go into just a plant manager job. But no one believed that I had those skills. And I couldn't find a job for the life of me. They kept saying, oh, you're the boss's daughter. You didn't really do anything. Not that I wasn't there at 5 a.m. and stayed until work was done at night, or that I go run to Baltimore to go pick up a disc from a client in a really terrible neighborhood, like at 3 a.m. But to get past that, I said, okay, I know I have skills. I know I can do something. What if I create a business where I have a skill set that I can continue to grow and I can continue to work on? Maybe it'll always be my side hustle, but then I have proof that not only have I done it, I built it, and here you go, but it's also a way to sustain income so that I never had to rely on anybody else. And I was homeless. I was living in believe it or not, an apartment in Dewey Beach, Delaware, where my normal home I had to get rid of because we couldn't afford it. There was nothing I could do. And so I was in my shared beach house, which was a 3-bedroom condo that had 2 bathrooms with 8 people. So I knew I had to
Yeah.
do something to get out of there. This
Yeah.
was like horrible. We were cramped. And that's where I came up with the idea of Rockstar and Moon, sitting out, listening to music, looking at the moon, the stars, and it all fit together. And that's where it was really born. And the pandemic gave me the best gift ever. So this was always my side hustle. And then I thought I found my dream job. I was running marketing for a division of Ticketmaster. How cool, right? The rock star vibe really is who I am. I love music. There's nothing better. And so my first year at Ticketmaster, we saw 275 different artists. My second year, it was 250. We slid a little bit and, you know, had a blast doing all those things. And I was thinking, what do I do? Am I getting rid of the side hustle? Am I not? The pandemic changed all of that. And it says, there's no events, there's no music. Go do your thing. And I spun up my side hustle to a full time gig that afternoon and haven't looked back.
There's always those line in the sand moments that, life could throw at us and we just don't know. And sometimes they're, challenging in the moment, but oftentimes they're a blessing in disguise. Because I mean, if you were still working at that other company because of that didn't happen, you wouldn't be at the place you're at now. Sometimes those circumstances are kind of blessing in disguise with that.
It's always those fun challenges, right? That either you take them and you're a victim or you take them and you're the winner in
Yeah.
whatever way it could be.
And it's the perspective of it, right? It's like what you make of it. It's the mental, capacity that you have of being a victim, or you take it to be like, all right, I gotta, pull up my britches and make it happen, And it's just like, I think there's something to be, said about the grit and the grind of an entrepreneur that I think is why we're so different, is because we're visionary more often than not. We take those challenges and we just run with them and we just say, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it happen.
And I don't think that we realize there's another option.
No, yeah, I don't think there's even that at all.
No, we just go because we can. There is no other option. There is no second guessing. It's like, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. Now
Mhm.
I'm 10 feet down. Okay, let's just keep going down this path.
I want to get your take on this now because you're doing fractional CMO work, but you're
Mhm.
also like an agency in a way too, because you do some of the fulfillment with the clients and everything. Talk to us about what is a fractional CMO? What is more often than not what you walk people through? What's the difference between an agency and fractional CMO, and how can people learn and leverage, a person like you to help them with their business?
It's really cool. So we have clients of all shapes and sizes. And on the side of the agency, we work with small businesses who don't have their own teams. And we work with a either done for you model or done with you model. So we can be able to help them grow and get in and let's just go make some magic happen. Build that credibility. Let's build out that infrastructure. Let's go make some numbers. And then we have clients who have their own teams, but there's nobody leading that charge, right? They brought somebody in, they have someone that maybe they've called a marketing manager or director of marketing, and they're really good at the one thing that they do. But how do they drive results for everything else? So you call somebody like me to say, hey, here's the right pieces of strategy. Here's where we focus. Here's the smart things that we should do. And here's where we're going to get our quick wins. Let's revamp this. Let's fix this. Let's not focus on these other shiny objects. And really being able to band that all together so that we can drive momentum. Because in the end, the goal is if I do my job right across any of these spectrums, my clients will never need me again. And that's awesome. I want them to grow these roles in house. I want them to be able to grow so big and look back and say, hey, look, we're hiring in house. This is great. I'm sorry. We're not going to work together anymore.
Mhm. That's good. I mean, I think so many times people realize in their business, and this is a paradigm that I teach a lot of my clients, and I want to get your take on this too, is every organization is a marketing business first with a product or service that they sell. And I think most of the time people like set up shop, they open a store, and they forget about marketing as the first thing. And they just think and hope and pray. It's like they're thinking of like the Field of Dreams, where it's like if you build it, they will come. When really it's the opposite. Like you're a marketing business first, and that paradigm shift has to take place because it's like when I look at the leading lagging indicators for you to sell anything, people need to know you exist, and that comes from marketing. And then for you to even sell something, you also need to have like a really good service or product that you could then fulfill on, and then let alone lead a team or automations or system to help you manage the infrastructure of that business. And coaching so many agencies over the years, what I find as a common pitfall, I want to get your take on this too, common pitfall is I feel like I got to get my infrastructure built. I got to spend months in building the website. I got to get my system dialed in before I even go to market. And then even when they're like, all right, I got it live, like the literally launch of their marketing company or their business is all together is that their website is live. And you're like, I've built hundreds of websites. And if there's no strategy behind it, nobody's visiting your website. The goal is a strategy with marketing. Talk about the importance of that paradigm shift, the need for a launch, the need for marketing as a key component, and some of the challenges that you've seen along the way.
Let's start with the first rule of marketing. Marketing your own business sucks. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it because what you do is in your head. And if people don't know about it, they're never going to find you. They're never going to ask you about it. Think about how many times you have a client say to you, "Oh, I didn't even know that you did that. And I've been working with you for 10 years." That's because you're not marketing it. And understanding marketing your own business sucks. There's no way a website will ever be 100% perfect. You will always need to update it. You're going to evolve your service. You're going to get real world data. You're going to understand we have to get from A to B. And this thing is either driving it or not. And if it's driving it, great. How do we optimize and get more? But marketing rule number two is marketing's never done. So just when we get to, okay, now we have a website, we have email campaigns around it. We have this, we have that, we have the other. They're running really well. Can't we get them to do better? How do we do that? How do we prioritize fixing, getting better, and continually doing that so that we're getting the most impact possible? Because it's
Mhm.
limitless.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's the strategy that needs to be done for sure. And it isn't easy, like you're saying. Most of the time, people ignore it because it's either something too elusive. They're like, I know I need to do it, but I just don't know how, what, when, or where. Or like, yeah, I need to be on social media, but I forget about it. It's the last thing on the totem pole. And they don't prioritize it, and then they come to us and they're like, how do I get more leads and revenue? And we're like, well, when was the last time you update your website? When was the last time you did social media stuff? When was the last time you told people about it? What is the game plan that you have with your marketing and sales strategy? And it's they don't have one.
Well, the other plan is that they're doing everything and nothing's working because they only have 3 seconds on this. And now I need to get on TikTok and now I need to do this and now I need to do this. And so it's so disjointed that it doesn't make sense, but they're so busy. Why doesn't it work?
Hmm. What are the key drivers for it? Because like you're saying, there's a million things that you could do. What are the big things that you found that are kind of outliers that are like, if we just kind of narrow down and focus on the 80-20 rule of like your infrastructure, what have you found to be kind of the biggest driving force for people?
Believe it or not, it all depends on where their ideal client profile sits. Where do they go and get their information? Where are they going to find you? How are they going to do that? And how do we build that credibility in front of them? And where we love to start, your credibility infrastructure. Because it's great that you're brilliant and you have done all these transformations. But if people don't know it and other people aren't talking about you, it doesn't exist. You may be God in the eyes of your clients, but if your clients aren't getting on a video and saying, hey, this was the best experience. They did exactly what they said they were going to do, and I won.
Mm.
Whatever transformation you created, it doesn't exist. So we start there, looking to see what do we need to do to position you as that leader. And then we get into the right channels and the right pieces. Is it the website update? Is it just email campaigns? Is it just case studies? How do we bring in LinkedIn if you're a B2B company? And how does all of this fit so that we have snackable content that somebody will actually engage with?
I think people feel like they have to narrow down on one. Like I've heard some different influencers say like, "Hey, you got to focus on one platform." Double down. Like I get the focus behind this, but here's the thing that I like is there's a report come out from Google. It's called the 711 4. I don't know if you've done this, but it's like people need to, if they're cold traffic, I'm not saying associations or referrals or anything like that, cold traffic, they need to spend 7 hours of content with you on 11 different touch points on 4 different platforms. That means if you focus just on one, you're losing. And if it's just short form and not long form, if you're saying all I'm going to do is doing reels and not doing long form, then it's like it's going to take a while for that 7 hours to kind of turnkey before they even have a conversation, let alone buy from someone. So I think I'm a big advocate of just omnipresence, but trying to repost and cross post and other things that you can leverage that. What's your take on some of that?
Well, it really depends on the industry. So for a lot of our B2Bs, being on any platform other than Google Business and LinkedIn is a waste of energy and resources because there's no way I want to go learn about, of- oh my goodness, we have 1,400 options here. Do I want to go learn about some B2B company as I'm scrolling through my Facebook or my Instagram? No, I'm not going to stop the scroll. But what I will do is if I'm on LinkedIn, I will want to learn more and dig into that company. And oh, that's some interesting content. That's where I want to absorb it. And that's the right set for those clients that we have. We also then work to put them on YouTube. So then all those different testimonials, as well as their features on podcasts, as well as their talking head videos on here's what we solve and how we solve it, get those SEO hits. So we're really working to just make sure that we're matching exactly the right content for the right space for the right audience, because otherwise you're in too many friggin' places and it's a lot of energy, even if it's just repurposed. Where you'll see my stuff, we're testing all the different platforms because we can. And while that works great for me and my business, I like to start small and then let's get some traction and do one thing really good. And then we can go to the next. And then we can go to the next. But I want to make sure that there is an ROI for what we're doing rather than you need to spend $4 million on marketing and then we're going to do this and you're going to have all this content everywhere. Will it perform? I don't know, but we'll work on it.
What do you think about like ads and stuff? How do you position some of that with your clients?
I think it truly depends on what that service is that they're offering and how we do it. Because I think findability is key, but findability, if you have the wrong messaging and you have the wrong pieces in place and you don't have that right funnel, is crazy. It is throwing money into the air or it's burning it or anything you can imagine. That's where it goes. And so if we don't have that right infrastructure together, I don't think that ads are the right answer. But if we can build a solid infrastructure together where you have that ability, where there's automatic calls, there's automatic emails, there's follow up and touch points in place where we can nurture that client with different types of content, absolutely.
But what do you think about like email? I think so many times people forget that is a key component of it. They think and hope and pray like once I have a contact, then that's it. But they never nurture them. They never have a newsletter. Talk
Yeah.
talk about your strategy there with that.
Well, what's really weird is I hated email marketing for the longest time because think about how many times you get spammed because you exist online. So if my email address existed online, somebody would take it and add me to their newsletters, and I wasn't finding it that interesting. So what we have done for not only ourselves but all of our clients is to really be able to implement those short form emails that grab attention, that give you content that you're looking for after we've asked, do you want to subscribe or not? And then the key is we're also thinking about how do we integrate email to other channels. So not only do we do LinkedIn outreach, now we have emails that come out with that so that it feels like one holistic piece. Because what we want to make sure of, it's great that we connected, but if you're not going to follow up with me afterwards and we're not going to talk, I'm not quite sure why you're on my LinkedIn. So let's develop the conversation. Let's continue to move through that process and build some rapport and get to know each other so that we can foster not only communication, but I know who you're serving, you know who I'm serving. You have an idea, am I your person or not your person? Well in advance. Because who wants to work with somebody and put their faith in somebody that they don't like? It'd be a terrible experience. So that's what we look to do with all of our clients as well.
I want to give a case study as an example. Many of the clients that I serve and that listen to this podcast are information coaches, online coaches. Let's talk about like the tech stack and infrastructure that if someone was starting that they would need and build out.
When someone is starting, I think it's a totally different hustle and grind than, let's say, they have 10, 15, 20 clients and they're bringing in more, right? When you're first starting, just go. Do not let anything stop you. Just go, figure it out, tweak, do it manually. We will get systems in place once you have something that's working and
Mhm.
something that's hitting. That's worth building a system for. After that, I believe a CRM is really needed and that you actually have to use it, not just have a CRM, but then you want to log all these different interactions in there because as we look back at the start of my business, I never had a CRM because I was hustling. And that sucked because I didn't have one place where everybody's email address was or know the last time I touched them, but I was grinding so it was possible. So once we started to grow, I implemented that CRM. So I had touch points and I knew the last time that we had conversations. I knew what needed to happen. I created automations for things. I have an email newsletter that goes out. There are text automations that I've added in at times. I have scheduling links that all go with that feed into other automations. And not only do we have that, but we have metrics. Metrics are the most important thing in the world. So we've implemented Google Analytics, we've implemented social analytics. We know what's working and what's not because it's silly to do the same things without looking at those metrics and knowing where are you winning and where are you losing and how do you optimize if you don't have that.
Yeah. I think something too that I think so many times is missing, and you alluded to this before, is like people need to have a power punch of an offer that's really clear, that's really concise of who you're helping and how you're helping them. And most of the time, people just, wing it or they're just a general whatever. And it just becomes really white noise and it needs to be really clear. And then having, that plastered everywhere of who you help and how you help them. And then whatever platform, like you're saying, if it's a B2C or B2B, your approach and your content is going to be different. And it's really going to be interesting based off of those sort of things. And, and then just testing and then getting in front of everybody, like everyone that's on your contact list to like go and contact. Because I think sometimes people miss that. They're like, oh, I don't, want to post it on Facebook. Like the fear, right, of launching is so real. Like with people that are like, I don't want to post it on my Facebook or Instagram. When it's just like, you got to get out there and you got to, it's do or die. It's life or business. Like you got to go for it. Talk about some of that fear that people have with, reluctantly putting themselves out there.
I want to pivot that a little bit if that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's the fear of asking for help.
Mm.
I think as humans, we don't want to ask for help. We do everything that we can in our lives to just, we'll grunt, we'll bear it, we'll just deal with it, we'll move from A to B. We will get through all of it, right? And we can do it ourselves. But the minute that we raise our hands and say, hey, I'm growing my business, can you share this with 3 people who could help? They absolutely will. If we ask for help, in most cases, no one will say no. They may say they don't know anybody, but they'll definitely share it on their own page or they will help to, how can I help? How can I promote? What do you need? And they will jump in immediately. And the fear that's here, it sucks, right? Sometimes it's just paralyzing. But if we switch that to, let me just ask for some help, that's where the graciousness of us as humans all comes out and where we can grow our business really organically.
Hmm. I wanted to get your thoughts too when we're talking about fear. People have a fear of getting on AI,
Mhm.
like and using it and leveraging it. How have you kind of built in that for yourself and then also with helping your clients?
So I use AI for so many things you would never expect. Like, hey, AI in Spotify, I need a playlist for something that's upbeat and going to get me through the day, right? I don't want to pick it. I don't want to do anything. Just get me into a better mood. Or, hey, AI, um, I need ideas for what I'm going to have for dinner for the next few nights. Can you pull together recipes and then tell me what the grocery list would be? And if it's things that are as simple as that in our everyday life, think about the rest of it. So I'll give you an example. I have a smart house. So as I get close to my door, my lovely Wi Fi um, keypad says, "Hey, you're here." And then it starts an automation. If I say, "Yes, I am home," where then it unlocks the door, it turns on the lights, it does other things. And that's life. We've all embraced it. If there's no way that my Alexa is not going to be taking care of turning on lights, turning off things, getting these pieces together. And if it can do it in a smarter fashion where it saves me time, effort, and energy, yes, let's do it. So I've used AI to help clean up my calendar, to summarize emails that go on for how many friggin' paragraphs that should have just been 3 bullets. I have it help me clean up language when I am working on writing a more compelling post. So I also run a nonprofit. And it's not my normal Rachel Rockstar, here's my big, bold personality tone. I need to calm that down a little bit. So, hey, make this more compassionate and bring the emotion forward, especially when I get emails back on a very regular basis about someone with terminal cancer. I am not capable of just sending an email back in a minute. I want to take the time to do that. And this helps me. Here's all the ideas that I have. Just help me put it together and help me think through that. And that's where I use probably AI in so many different great ways because not only does it bring the compassion, but it helps me put oh my God, I went through cancer and then I have this and then I have that. Like, here were my experiences into a framework that somebody else can understand, and it does it in seconds versus me taking 6 hours to go respond to an email.
Yeah. I think we're in a time frame where we shifted not only in the information age, but like now the human age, where automations are helping us get connected more on a personal level because we're buying back a little more of our time each day with some of these things. And I still think we're out a few years where, people are really kind of adopting to AI more and more. And then so many tools of ours are leveraging AI more than ever now, which is great because it's helping us streamline and everything like this. Um, I think it's connecting us more on a personal level where it's like we're like you're talking about, you're a big advocate of being authentic and real. I think people are cutting through the noise now of seeing the fluff and they're realizing I want to be this type of person and be real and be human and be in a community where people have more of a deeper sense of belonging. Uh, and I think AI could help us in some level with that. I mean, not in the human level, but I think it kind of bridges the gap of being more efficient in a lot of ways, like you're using it in everyday life that it's so, so helpful to kind of see and do. Even on the marketing side, or just staying on top of that too, with that in forefront, what can people do and how do you leverage it and use it and help people kind of train people through it?
Well, I like to pull metrics on a very, very, very regular basis. And I know what my assumptions are when I'm looking at the data, but I like to have AI validate that on here are the things that I'm seeing. Is this true? How would you put this into a story so that my hypothesis, I can test that? What are we going to do from here? And AI will do a really good job of summarizing a large data set, bringing that back in actionable insights, and then hammering home the things that are actually important. Now, there are times that it pulls data that is extraneous and we have no idea what's happening. So please go check that data. But the things that it can see and analyze faster than us is incredible.
I told my team the other day, I said, every one of your jobs are irrelevant in the next 6 months unless you figure out how to leverage AI to be super more efficient. Like literally your job, editor, video, thumbnail, like your job is gone unless you figure out how to use it. And it's been, I think the urgency there has been so helpful for people to get their mind around it. Or even this one too, like there's so many times as as a leader, you end up being in a place where you're fielding and putting fires out all day long. And one of the questions that I always have as a principal is called the 1-3-1. It's like if you have a challenge, find three solutions to that challenge and then present the one that you think is best. And then I before even the challenge there, I always ask, did you finalize that through ChatGPT? For help them to process and think about those things. Did you have that conversation? Did you use it? Did you have it ask you questions? And I think there's the prompting age, that we're in that's going to help us, but even the problem solving where you as the leader are having less to do because you've trained and focused your team on leveraging AI. um, and I want to get your opinion on this as leading a team, especially being a fractional CMO and you're kind of leading these teams of people. Like I do often trainings with AI, so I'm constantly learning so that I can teach my team how to use it effectively. And because I want them to not have to bother me and find and figure it out on their own. Like how do you go through that process of leadership and then also helping your team there?
Well, here's what's interesting to me. None of us have any time anymore to even sit through a training, which is insane, right? We are so busy sitting down for 3 hours to get better at something. Even if I could put my team member into it, it's a constant conversation on, hey, I'm trying to make you better. I'm trying to do these things. So we've actually figured out some pretty smart ways where we can have AI ask questions to get these pieces out of it and then spit back the response in a way that makes sense. Okay, so here's the problem I'm having. Here's what I'm looking to do. Here's some things I'm looking to solve. Here's my pain points. Here's the issue. Here's what the data says. Here's what I'm thinking I want to do. Give me some options. And how do we bring that back? Um, and not only have we seen that be the better thought process, but it's much more thought out and brings you back to, okay, instead of, hey, what's my next task? What's my next task? Okay, I'll sit here and wait until you do that. No, here's some proactive things I could be doing right now that will then take work off somebody else's plate or will then do X for the company.
Hmm. I think it's real important that everybody needs to have for sure. Rachel, I want to get your take on this. Like, what are things that people need to be thinking through with their marketing? What do we not have a conversation for that you think is really important that everybody needs to know and hear?
I think the biggest thing is it has to be authentic. Marketing has to be true to who you are and who your brand is. You would never see something fluffy and happy on my website. It's just not where we're at. I painted that thing black. Keith Richards is my idol. He's done everything, tested everything, and he's still here. So he'll stand the test of time. That's what we want to put into it. So when you come to my site, that's what you should see. When I go to a client site and the first thing I see is some fluffy little language that looks like it was just created by Chat GPT that doesn't connect, it doesn't talk pain points, and it doesn't even talk about their ideal client, that's where I'm like, okay, this is a problem. Messaging is huge. How do we get better, smarter, faster, and connect more? And that's really the key. Not only that, but it's the power of credibility. I can't say it enough. You can be saying all day long how amazing you are, but nobody cares. The only people who are going to care are people who are hearing it from your clients, hearing testimonials, seeing case studies, and seeing the data of what transformation you have.
Yeah. Transformation is a big one that people leverage and need to be able to do more of. I love that. Thank you for kind of clarifying that. How can people follow you and connect with you more?
Head to my website, rachelminion.com, and connect with me on LinkedIn. You can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram and a lot of fun other platforms.
Perfect. I'll put that down in the links below. Make sure to go follow her. She's going to be amazing resources for everybody that's listening. As well as there's a free gift down below in the description too, with a workshop that if you're wanting to build online, that's going to be real helpful for everybody that's listening too. Thank you for tuning in on the episode. Rachel, thank you for being our amazing guest today, and we will see you guys on the next episode.